Hey there guys, it's MarionetteAngie here, and today I want to talk about a trip I went on over the summer, which was my trip to Alton Towers. It was such a good time, and I thought it'd be nice to talk to you guys about it. Now, I won't be using tons of my own clips because I don't show my face, but I'll try and give you guys a picture of the day and how much fun it was. So I hope you enjoyed this more casual vlog style video. So first of all, I want to set the scene. I woke up early for the park and ate my breakfast, and then the news started talking about intense traffic blocks on our route to Alton Towers. I was so worried we wouldn't get there, and to make things worse, Mother Nature decided to chime in and say that we had a yellow weather warning hanging over our heads. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, basically it means a bad storm or like something is brewing, and you should be very wary of it when making plans. So of course, on the one day I'm going to a theme park, we get a warning. Like the clearly intelligent people we are, my big cousin and I decided to go to it anyway and plan around the storm. Since it was supposed to hit us like around 3, so we were like, okay, we'll just plan for that. We drove for about an hour and 45 since we got pretty stuck in traffic. We just mainly listened to music and made a game plan and, just had conversations. It was pretty nice. Since the last time I went to the park was when I was about 10, we decided to hit up the big 4 rides that I really wanted to go on and had never been on before. So those were Oblivion, Smiler, Wicker Man, and Galactica, I'm pretty sure. If the storm hit after that, we would have at least done the fun things first. So we planned ahead and arrived at last to sunny skies and parked. We walked to the park's entrance. I geeked out a lot at the backstage stuff I got to see while I was walking and went inside. Obviously, we said hi to the corkscrew first.
Have we caught it before from the front home?
Heading on to Towers Street, my cousin and I were already having a lot of fun because I was making lots of jokes and she was laughing a lot.
The impulsivity to just film everything. I love the towers, they're so cool.
So we decided to start at the back of the park, which is in the government facility of X Sector, home to the Smiler and Oblivion. We were very surprised, like this never happens, to find that Oblivion only had a 10-minute wait. We were like, what? So we dashed on it and got on the ride in about like 2 minutes. After I'd vibed to the music, of course. If you haven't listened to Oblivion's music, what are you doing? It's actual vibes. But if you don't even know what Oblivion is, it's basically a drop coaster where essentially you drop almost 90 degrees into this giant misty hole, as any intelligent person would do. My cousin considers it the ride she finds scariest because, she has a fear of heights. But we both had a lot of fun. Like I said, I'd never been on it before, but it made me really laugh because typically I laugh on coasters instead of scream. We also checked the photos and my cousin's hand is in my face. Then we decided to queue for Smiler. The queue was about an hour long if I remember rightly, and we were mostly just chatted together and took videos of the cars. Yeah! I also made some jokes about how the music for Smiler makes me crazy. It makes me insane. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rabbit room with rats. Rats make me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once.
We do not care.
Anyway, after waiting in the line for a while and checking out some cool optical illusions, and my eyes dying because of the strobe lights, we made it to Backdrop, where I got a bit confused since I'd never had to do it before. My cousin explained the system to me though, and then I went on the ride, which I was actually most terrified of. It has a bit of a past and a reputation, but it also has 14 loops and crazy twists and turns, so I was pretty nervous. But as we went on, my fear faded into just pure joy because going through the ride and getting turned upside down and around was really fun. I literally laughed the entire way around, so I guess I belong to the Smiler. After willingly putting ourselves through government experimentation, my cousin and I decided to head over to Wicker Man. The app actually said it was closed because that's what we were monitoring wait times on and such, but we decided to head in that direction anyway since Galactica and other rides are over the same side. By the time we reached Wicker Man, it just reopened and we waited a while in the queue. cousin was actually quite hungry, so she ate some lunch in the queue, and I had to rush her, since she had a rebellious sandwich which would not please the Wicker Man. If I'm going to die, I want to die dignified. I also comforted this like little kid who was kind of scared in the queue because he'd seen, you know, the opening video and he was scared. So I was like, yeah, we'll escape together. We're gonna get out of here. So that was pretty wholesome. I have got to say, Wicker Man is worth the hype. Like, it's so good. It looks pretty tame, like when you look at it, but the ride jolts you around like so much, and they blow so much smoke in your face that it's like really exhilarating and fun. And it's so smooth as well, like the track is super smooth. Plus, we were super lucky and literally got the front row, so that was like amazing. So, after escaping burning to death, we decided it was time to fly into space and walked along a really scenic path to Galactica, which is formerly Air. We had a bit of a conversation about how old it was while we were waiting. And yeah, so I also love the music from Galactica. As you can tell, it's playing in the background. So here's a little video of me kind of vibing to it. Like, I was literally just moving my phone. And then we boarded onto the fly coaster. So, I have been on a couple of these types of coasters before. The big one I remember was Manta at SeaWorld. That was in 2019, so a while ago. But seeing as this one was the first, I had a ton of fun on it. Plus, as well, the wind actually whipped my hair around a bunch because it's so short. So it really flew into my face. That was quite funny. Anyway. Since we'd hit up the Big Four and there was no storm in sight, which was a blessing, we decided to spend the rest of the day chilling on different rides and, you know, smaller rides. Like, anything that wasn't the Big Four, we were like, yeah, we can do that now. So we started with the Curse at Alton Manor. The Curse at Alton Manor has been refurbished from Duel, and it contains a new story about this character called Emily Alton, who is a neglected little girl who becomes a source for vicious evil after being locked up in the attic. Her resentment turned to hate and hate to evil, so now she haunts the house and wants to play with anyone who dares to visit. I'll be honest, nothing really scared me in the ride. Like, you know, it's meant to have jump scares and stuff, but I didn't get scared, I just looked bored. But my cousin got really freaked out by something, which made me laugh really hard. Like, one thing popped out her and she like screamed and I just started dying. It was so funny. I did really enjoy like the visual effects they added though. Like the mirror, you know, when she goes in the mirror. And there's this like cool effect which really reminds me of Hex because it's like a spinning room. It gives you the illusion that you're going upside down, or it's very fun. So then we headed outside and my cousin got this like giant ice cream and gave me the candy floss. So that was cool. And I also spoke to a grave digger in the area, and I told him I'd buy the house. So he said I should speak to the estate agent at the door and get a fund going. Unfortunately, I have to go to college, but maybe I can move in with all the ghosts afterwards. The ride as a whole feels like it took a piece out of Phantom Manor with its storytelling, which is like right up my alley, because dark stories and dark rides are really just something that I enjoy. And I enjoyed learning about poor Emily, so I hope someday her spirit will be calmed. Fun fact, I'm incredibly sarcastic sometimes, and that most comes out when I'm talking about 13 at Alton Towers. Basically, I like to say jokes like, oh yeah, Alton Towers has some of the best rides in the entire UK, and it also has 13! Since I watched Expedition Theme Park's video on it, I managed to learn more about it and see the issues it kind of has. But I do admit that riding 13 was really fun. Also, my cousin had no idea about the drop in the tower, and it was so good to see her reaction. I was like, Lamau. I also showed her, you know, the Tesla coil in the queue, but it was quite funny because I missed what the girl was saying, so I thought she said, but she was actually saying 6 and 7. So I went, bruh, you missed some numbers.
Oh, very faintly.
Yeah. Eight. You dropped some numbers, girl.
But yeah, it was a really fun ride, and I loved seeing my cousin's reaction to everything. Last, but certainly not least, we decided to go on Rita. We queued probably, I'd say like the longest, or it felt like the longest for this one. Mainly because it started raining, and we had those things where, in the Smiler we were constantly moving, whereas with Rita, occasionally we'd stop in the queue, so it felt like longer. But we mainly just talked, and I actually ate my lunch at that point because I had not been doing that. I think Rita's a very interesting coaster following 13 because they're essentially sister coasters with like the same story. So in my mind, 13 is getting trapped in the dark forest while Rita is escaping it. So I'm very glad we did them in that order because to me it feels more narrative that way. What I'm not glad about is the amount of spinal damage I had for the next few days, to the point where walking was extremely painful. I think I got thrown back a bit during that launch, but I'm okay now, so it's not important. Rita had one of the best launches I've ever done. Like, it's so fast, and it was the only coaster out of them all to literally make me scream instead of laugh. Like, I genuinely yelled, so that shows how much of an adrenaline rush it was for me. I had a really great time doing all these new coasters, so seeing as we had a bit of time left, we decided to repeat some rides before heading home. To end the day, we decided to revisit Smiler and Wicker Man, which I'd consider my favorite attractions. Specifically, I think Wicker Man tops it slightly, but I really like both of them, though they were all amazing. I challenged my cousin to keep her eyes open actually during the second lift hill, which is basically the antithesis of Oblivion because it's a vertical rise. So I was really proud of her when she did, and we had a great time getting marmalized once more. But actually, this was quite funny. So you see this video I'm taking where it says marmalized complete. After I turned the phone off, I bumped into a trash can. And as well, before that, on the ride before, my cousin also came out of the same area and tripped on a wet floor sign, so it shows how dizzy you get after this. Finally, we headed to Wicker Man again, and I got to understand in the pre-show how the projection mapping effect worked, because previously I was too far forward and too focused on the story to notice it, but my cousin who did theatre was like explaining it to me. So we ended the day on a very high note, and my cousin bought a little toy for like her daughter, which was very cute. And I got a book for decoding Wicker Man runes, which I've written in. Finally, we took a picture at the iconic purple entrance on Tower Street and headed home, and said goodbye to the Nemesis track in the car park. I had a lot of fun, so big hugs and shout out to my cousin for taking me, and we were really lucky as well since no storm hit us or anything. Unfortunately, Hex wasn't open, but it wasn't much of an issue since I went on it when I was much younger and I have fond memories of it and know the whole story, so, you know, I've experienced it. But spending the day with my cousin on all these rides was the absolute best, and I loved every second of talking to her and bonding over that shared love of roller coasters. I'm very happy I got to go, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah, that's the video basically. I hope you've enjoyed. Bye bye!